Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
We are now live. There we go.
All right.
Good morning, brother. Good morning to you, my man. All right, so he likes a fancy pour over. Is that right? Okay. McNeil says hi. Hi, McNeil. How are you? First time I've seen you here. Are you getting coffee? I am. Yes, I got my morning coffee. I was brewing it downstairs on what Marty Miller calls, what does he call it? The Suburban Housewives kit of some sort, right? I think that's what he calls it. So, yeah, I had one of those going on. So, yeah, brewed it, got it going on, and here we are. We got a good live show ahead of us right now because apparently a lot of people right now are body shaming The Rock for looking a little bit skinny. Now, look. Let me preface this, okay? I've experienced something similar to this when I was a teenager, or especially when I got out of the Marine Corps, right? Or at least in basic training. When I left basic training, I remember some family members of mine said, "Oh, you know, you're looking a little skinny there," because remember, all Marine Corps and all military training is predicated on endurance. Endurance. How fast can you run in 3 miles, right? That's the PFT that you have to do in a Marine Corps. How many pull-ups can you do? How many sit-ups can you do? And by the way, I don't know if this is a surprise to anybody. I actually beat platoon record in the 1st Battalion in Paris Island for, I believe in 2 minutes, I did like 240 sit-ups in 2 minutes. So, you know, if that explains, yeah, how's your day? Yes, yeah, there's no such thing as an ex-Marine, but I know what you mean. Yes, that's what it is. Daniel says, sitting on 6 views. Well, Daniel, first of all, this is something that you're never going to understand. Okay, because first and foremost, you're coming in here because of a little spat that you and I had going on. And here's something about Daniel that you guys need to understand, right? Daniel is one of these guys that thinks that you can't do anything unless you're elite at it, which is a dumb thing to say, right? And then there it is. There's 9 people now. Right? So it's not 6 people, it's not 6 views, you idiot. It's actually 9 people that's in here, and that's 9 people concurrent. But let's take a look at the amount of people that have actually been here since you've been, you know, talking your smack. And by the way, if you want to continue, Daniel, okay, don't let me go and find the video of you getting knocked out when you quit. And, you know, in your white collar boxing match. So, you know, you don't want to, man, I'm telling you, man, listen, this is not the place where you want to, you know, get roasted, Daniel. So please play nice, or I'm going to play very vicious. And the thing about it is, Daniel, you're a freaking quitter. Daniel Hamid with 1 sub, talking crap. That's what I'm saying, man. You see, look, let me read to you what Daniel, said the other day, right? And by the way, Daniel, I don't want to get off topic on this particular topic with The Rock being body shamed, but it's cool. You know what? We'll go at it with Daniel right now. So there it is, 13 views so far. But which, by the way, this is, look, let me show you how much of a quitter Daniel is, okay? Daniel Hamid, you are, man, I'm telling you, man, you picked the wrong time right now, but it's all good. Okay, so this is what Daniel wrote the other day, right? Because Daniel, let me preface this for you guys. He's a white-collar boxer in the UK, and, well, he quit a few times in his fights because he's a bitch, and then on top of that, he actually pulled out of a fight because a homeboy of his, okay, couldn't give him a ride. So then this is a guy who's talking about, oh, you're a failure, this and that. Well, dude, I'm a college graduate. I've been in the military. I fought just like you have. And then on top of that, you know, I'm not a quitter like you, because this is what he wrote about, you know, trying to get on YouTube, right? He says, and I'm going to do this in my British Peterborough accent. Well, I have decided that I will not be uploading any YouTube videos anytime soon. And that's only because I don't have a plan. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be sitting on 2K views per day. So in other words, he's trying to take a shot at me. He says, relax my dick in your mom's face. Okay, yeah, really. I mean, like that is, like, as if that's supposed to be, like that's supposed to be insulting. Like, please, be original, for crying out loud. Right now, you're coping because of the fact that I'm dissing you right in front of everybody. And on top of that, now you're just trying to say anything that really means anything, right? What are the chances that you'll actually meet my mom? What are the chances that I'll actually pull up in England and beat the living hell out of you in front of your parents? Bro, I would beat your ass in front of your parents, in front of your hood, in front of the people that you go to the gym with. And not only that, man, I would be hurting you so bad that you would be screaming for mercy. Okay, so all this relax, dick in, you know, mom's face or this and that. Come on, bro. Really, it's weak, and everybody in the chat is dissing you as a result of it. He's beat up you, and he would beat up you and your dad, Marty Miller says. So, okay, this is what Daniel says, and I quote, right? And if I don't think I can hit a million mark on YouTube, then there's no point to me doing it. So in other words, you're a quitter. I'm reading to you what, here, this is, let me show you what it is that you're talking about right here, okay? So Daniel then goes on to say, I've been on social media since 2008, but yet you have 1 subscriber. You know what I mean? You have 1 subscriber on YouTube, yet you've been on social media for since 2008. Great job. And been off Snapchat and Instagram and etc. And I built a reputation off mostly for the wrong reasons, but I've grown as a character on social media. I mean, this dude is trying to talk like he's Conor McGregor punching old men in the bars and this, that, and the other. I mean, what reputation do you have, bro, other than the fact that you quit your fights? Not only did you quit your fight, on top of that, you got knocked out and you don't want to show anybody your videos. And then all you keep doing is showing all your entrance videos and all your Facebook pages. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? You're not even worth it for me to even talk about. But since you want to talk all of this, we can do it right now. I will definitely be uploading videos on YouTube once I have a plan. And there is genuinely no point of sitting less than views, or rather I do not do it. If I actually do it, then I would rather be the best at it, or I won't do it at all. Listen, Daniel, listen to me, bro. You're fat, okay? I understand Tyson Fury is fat. I understand Daniel Cormier is fat, but your fat doesn't work for you. That's just the bottom line about it. You know what I mean? You got all these big-ass wide hips, you know what I mean, unathletic legs, you know, you're bow-legged, you know, you look like you don't have any athleticism in you whatsoever, and then the only thing that you can say is, relax, I'm gonna put my dick in your mom's face currently, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reality of that. The reality is, Daniel, you're 20-some-odd years old, you're a young man, you have a lot of high expectations on who you think you are and what you think you are, and the reality is you're just another UK bum. That's just really what it is. And if you continued boxing, you would be a journeyman, and in reality, you really are a journeyman if you think about it with your 1-3 record. So, to give a little context, let me show you who Daniel is, okay? This is who Daniel is. Oh, look at that. Who's the young lad with you, Daniel? You a bum, bruv. You a bum. Marty Miller called you a bum, bruv. What's up, bro? What's up? How come nobody... Hey, listen, Daniel, if you're such a social media star, why is it that nobody ever comes to come and defend you when I go and diss you on your social media? What's up with that? Nobody comes and defends you. That's Daniel, by the way. I think you guys know who Daniel is out of these two, right? Because it definitely isn't the guy in the right. You know what I mean? So forget Daniel. Yeah, I will, because I'm sure he would want me to forget about him right now with the way that I'm dissing him, you know, hard to the core, and you know, giving him some dose of reality of who he is. I'm riding with my boy Kyrie. There it is. So there it is, my man. Listen, you know, you and I, we're gonna meet one day. You know, whether it's you coming out to California, in the United States, in the East Coast, or whether it's me coming out to jolly old England, bruv, I'm telling you, man, you know, it's only going to be me and you. So it's cool that these people are over here supporting me and this and that, but the reality is we're going to meet one day, and when we do, I'm going to smash your face in, and not only that, I'm going to rearrange every single part of your genetics and DNA to the point where you won't even be recognized anymore. You understand that, Daniel? And I will break your soul, bro. I will break your soul and everything that you stand for. So, with that in mind, let's talk about The Rock, right? So, The Rock right now is being body shamed to the fact that he lost a lot of weight. Now, let me preface this, right? As I was saying earlier in the stream, I've experienced something very similar to this in the Marine Corps, right? Obviously, there's a lot of cardio that is involved in military training. And during high school, I wrestled and then I lifted a lot of weights. So therefore, as a result of that, this Daniel fella must be scared for sure, King Dale Clark says. That's what I'm saying. You hiding, Daniel Bud, whoever you are. So there you are, Daniel. People are now asking for you, man. You wanted all of this attention, you know, saying that you're this social media star since 2008. So come on, Daniel. Come on over here and, you know, address your fans and your supporters, because obviously you're now in demand, right? So, okay, going back to my topic at hand, right? So, obviously, yes, I lifted a lot of weights in high school and wrestled, so I was a little bit buffer than when I first got out of, you know, Marine Corps boot camp, right? And then people would say, well, you look skinnier, this and that. But to me, man, I felt great skinny. You know what I'm saying? I felt great. Yeah, Daniel, you could say something. He's not blocked. There it is, man. So, Daniel, say something right now so that we can, you know, rebuttal what you have to say. I already broke your mom's soul, LOL. Once again, man, that is not steeped in reality. I told you what's steeped in reality is that you're never going to upload a video because you're too scared. Number two, you're too scared because you don't want the ridicule of the fact that you're going to have less views than what you had expected. And that's really what it is, because the truth of the matter is when you want to do YouTube, you got to get in there and grind. What it is with Daniel is that you have no work ethic. Look at this guy. Does this guy look like somebody that has an insane work ethic like I do? Right? Does this guy look like he's more athletic than me? Does this guy look like he can do box jumps like me? Does this guy look like he can, you know, lift the type of weights that I can? Does this guy look like he can even box better than me? Bro, you're the boxer. I'm the MMA guy, and I would beat the living hell out of you in Queensberry rules. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, he looks like an excuse-making douchebag. He is. That's exactly what he is. He is. How dare you run your live stream on my internet? I don't understand what you mean by that, Fresh Melon Juice. Please care to elaborate on that. NJ says, why you got to bring family into it? You know what? You know what comes with that, Daniel. That's what I'm saying, man. Daniel could say whatever he wants about, you know, family members that he's never met. Of mine, which is completely fine. He doesn't know from a can of paint whether I actually have a relationship with my parents or have anything to do with them or this and that. He doesn't know anything. What he's trying to do is just trying to say anything to feel better about himself. What's an old video? What old video are you talking about? The picture that you have here where you did 6 rounds with this fella right here. By the way, shout outs to this fella right here that you did 6 rounds with. But on any regard, Daniel, I'm telling you, man, this is not the kind of beef that you want going on, bro. Okay, this is not the kind of beef you want going on. Bro, I got the whole United States on me, and I got England behind me. On top of that, he's showing past photos. Bro, that is in January 31st, 2024. Let me show you a current video. I am the owner of the internet, Fresh Melon Juice says. All right, man. All right. And then you say that you claim that you're that you live in Peterborough, that you live in Birmingham. All right, this is Daniel's current photo right now. There's Daniel Hamid. There he is right there. There's Daniel Hamid. Bradford. I am from Bradford. Show them my recent pad work and go on. Okay, listen. You guys have seen me hit pads, hit bags, and all my training sessions in here, right? So let's go do that. Let's go see what Daniel looks like on the pads. Okay, let's see how you look on the pads, Daniel. Let me pull this up right here. Oh. at that, Daniel playing some West Coast music. You're not even from the West Coast, Daniel. This is Daniel right here, okay? Hitting pads with his unathletic looking legs, big old hips, big old forehead, all of that. Daniel, if I was you, brother, I would back down. You don't want the smoke, surely. Hands low. King Clark says hands low. There it is, man. Daniel Hamid. Telegraph punches. This is what I'm saying, right? So, Daniel, how about this, right? Why don't you show the video where you got knocked out at? Oh, and then here's one. You guys really want to laugh? Look at this. Us, us, us. Us, us, us. Looking like a fat Bilal. Hey, you know what? Drizzy Goat. Drizzy Goat. Oh, hold on. Look at this, Daniel. You're being humiliated in front of the world right now. Is this what you really wanted, Daniel? You really wanted this? Like, you really wanted to come in here and distract me from my Rocky Maivia stream? You really wanted this? You really look at these legs, bro. Look at this, bro. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. MMA fighter's favorite drill is north-south BJJ. NJ says, dude looks like he had a stroke. God damn, man. He said he looked like you got a stroke, bro. What is that? He asked for this to be shown. Yo, I can't believe it, Daniel. I can't believe it. You asked for this to be shown. Hus, 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 hus. What's wrong, Daniel? Running out of breath? Running out of breath? Why would he ask for you to show this? He asked me to show the pad work earlier, but you know, this is part of it as well. Daniel, this is your problem, brother. You live in a small town of Peterborough, okay? And then the problem with that, I know it's garbage. He must be hiding now. No one could live this down. There it is, Daniel. You've been humiliated. And on top of that, my current stream right now is at 14. Please stay while you watch these streams go up. I had 1,000 the other day. I had 1,000 the other day. On top of, man, come on, Daniel. Come on, Daniel. If you're not going to fight me on YouTube, and let's see who does what. In numbers and this and that, right? Because you're not going to fight me, bro. You know what I'm saying? If I see you in person, the first thing you're going to say is, no, brother, you know what? I was only joking, brother. No, no. You know what I'm saying? With your fat, desi ass. Oh, fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? You're a fat disgrace of a thing, Daniel. You're a fat disgrace of a thing. How does it feel now that I humiliated you in front of my American audience, in front of my European audience, and maybe even my African audience too? Oh, that guy, he's a piece of shit. Oh my God. Tooth Bud says, how tall are you and how tall is Daniel? I'm 6 feet. Daniel, I believe, is I think maybe the same height, or maybe just, you know, slightly taller, maybe. I don't know how tall, or maybe 5'10", 5'11", maybe right around there. He says boxing on a spectrum. Well, there it is, man. And listen, this is a guy who pulled out of his fight because he couldn't get a ride. His ride ditched him. Zayn Musa Boxing. You guys know Zayn Musa Boxing, right? He said it right here. When I talked about Daniel, he said that his buddy didn't want to bring him because he didn't want to see him get his ass whooped. So there it is. Boxing on a spectrum is crazy. Haha. So there it is, Daniel. You just got verbally abused in front of the world for trying to diss me, and that's the reality of it. So, okay, going back to The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, right? Because here's another thing that that he says about me, right? He says, well, you get views by only talking about other people. Well, guys, let me ask you this. Would you watch Daniel just talk about himself? Let's be honest. Would you really go and watch all of this all by itself? it's like this is a kid that doesn't understand the internet. He doesn't understand how things work. He doesn't understand how things go. And by the way, Daniel, let's see how many views I already got here. Let's see how many views I already got out of this by just talking about you for this whole entire time, right? Let's see how many views we got out of this, just out of this whole entire time. Daniel, I'm already sitting at 100 views right now just by dissing you. Okay, that's literally dissing you. Yo, bro, it's Humble Man. Shout out to Humble Man. Rock Ozempic J looks like Oprah. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, my man. Hope you're doing well as well. Look at this, Daniel. This is how many people in the world have already seen you get dissed. Ooh, look at that. 85 to 87. Look at that, Daniel. Look at that. Major salute, bro. There it is, man. My Marine buddy right there, William. Shout out to you, my man, Semper Fi. You know, we're over here just dissing, you know, some English UK bum. You know how that goes. You know what I mean? You know, we love to diss some, you know, some English guys here. Except, of course, if you're Zayn Musa Boxing. You know what I mean? Zayn Musa Boxing is, where'd he go? Yeah, Daniel, where you at, bro? Where you at? Daniel, where you at? You know what? I'm going to call Daniel right now on his, I'm going to call Daniel right now. Oh, Daniel just blocked me, y'all. Look at this. Daniel just blocked me, guys. Wow. Daniel just blocked me. Can you believe this? Daniel just blocked me. Daniel just blocked me. I can't believe it. He got roasted so bad. Oh, Daniel. Daniel-san. Daniel-san, no quit. Daniel-san, laughing my ass off. He's a bum. Good stuff, bro. He probably had to hop off the gear. He had been going hard for years. There it is, my man. What is this? Humble Man with the British flag, and then you know, he blocked you. That's a W. There it is, man. You know, hey, man, listen, American flag's up for this. That guy is a member of the SAS. I wouldn't mess with him, Kyrie. Oh, yeah. Daniel is a member of the SAS. Yeah. Daniel is a member of the SAS. Is that right? Bro, oh, my God, man. Listen, don't disrespect the British SAS, man. I know that, you know, sometimes we have, you know, a bit of some, you know, banter with, you know, with the British and the SAS and stuff like that. But that dude is not SAS material whatsoever. The SAS training is sad. Tooth Buds says, why do you say that, man? I thought they were, man, listen, I thought they had one of the hardest selections in the world, right? From what I understand. So that's kind of crazy that, you know, that you would say that. But, all right, so, no, I'm just refreshing. I'm just referring to his, clips. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, gotcha, okay. So I've heard they have the hardest, selection, or one of them. Yeah, next to the Navy SEALs and this and that. Okay, so let's hear what people have been saying about, The Rock, recently, right? Oh, and by the way, Daniel, now 100 people around the world have seen you get dissed. So are you happy now, Daniel? Are you happy now that, you know, I came in here and, you know, and gave you what you wanted? So there it is. Oh, yeah, those dudes are real G's. There it is. I can't believe Daniel blocked me. Daniel, unblock me, bro. Unblock me. Look at this. There's no more Daniel Hamid, right? These are the only Daniel Hamids that are in here. There's one in Lahore, Pakistan. There's, oh, my goodness, Daniel. Why you block me, bro? Why you block me, man? Kyrie and that guy at the White House card. Yo, you know what, man? Fresh melon juice. Listen, I'm gonna mark that. Listen, fresh. That is kind of look, that's kind of a good matchup if you think about it, right? Obviously, he's British. I'm American. He's a Muslim. You know, he's a British Muslim. I'm a Muslim American. You know, so there's that, you know, DIE, you know, narrative around it, right? Like, both of these guys are representing their countries. One is a Brit, one is an American, but they're both Muslim. One is Pakistani, one is Arab. And poor Daniel got cyberbullied. Bro, he was trying to cyberbully me, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to cyberbully me. Marty Miller says, prelim main event. Yeah, I'll take that. You know what? Yeah. I'll take a prelim main event for that one, like the, you know, last Paramount, what is the TV deal going to be? So Paramount or maybe like ESPN still, you know, before it heads to the pay-per-view. Sure, man. You know, go in there, beat Daniel's ass, and then, you know, and then go chill at the West Wing and watch the entire rest of the cards. So no beard Muslim. What the, that's what I'm saying, man. Yo, I don't know. I don't think that he can, oh, my man, Humble Man says, keep being you, bro. I'd stay longer, but I'm at work. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the super chats, Humble Man. Shout out to you, man. I'm very humbled by that, man. Shout outs to Humble Man for that one. Kyle, that's a very inappropriate question. I'm not going to block you, but I'm going to remove that comment, okay? Only because it is, okay, there it is. Marty Miller deleted. He was on it. Okay, good job, man. So let's get to The Rock, right? Because a lot of people are body shaming, you know, The Rock right now, and I'm wondering, you know, what's the haps on that? You know what I'm saying? What is going on with people body shaming The Rock? Let's find out exactly what that is. And by the way, there's been a lot of good reviews, by the way, for this show, this movie. So let's see here. Fresh Melon who says The Rock meet Dana White's PT. Tooth Bud says body shaming The Rock is the reason why men have body dysmorphia. You know what, Tooth Buds, I'm going to mark that comment right there. Okay, that right there is a good point. That is definitely a good point. A lot of men do have a body dysmorphia. And you know what? Look, here's the thing about The Rock, right? I think he looks a lot healthier than, you know, than let's say if he had all these, you know, bodybuilding muscles and whatnot, right? Because, look, if you look at people who live longer, right, they're usually a lot skinnier. They're usually a lot thinner. They're usually a lot more fit. You know, they live longer, they have less diseases. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man, you know, bigger guys don't last very long in their life. So I think that The Rock is probably at a much healthier, you know, healthier state. So let me see here. Let me see what the people have been saying about the Rock here. Okay, so Compton, Rick Rock, Brandon, don't, okay. Let's see here. Okay, let's go with this guy right here. Greg Doucette, The Rock is a pebble, down 50 pounds. Let's hear what this guy has to say about this. And plus, he's like 60 years old. That's what I'm saying, right? So, yeah, for sure. Life expectancy is directly related to how hard your heart has to work on a daily basis. There you go. And if you're that big, it's going to be a little bit more impossible to do that. Plus, he's like 60. Fresh Melon Juice says, yeah, live longer is one reason, and serious acting roles. So there it is, right? Same thing with Batista. He sort of did the same thing. But let's hear what this guy has to say right here.
Rock went on a juice cleanse, lost about 50 pounds of muscle. We're not talking about orange juice, we're talking about steroids. Oh no, Michael Hernroad? Oh boy.
By the way, shout outs to Greg Doucette. I'm not really familiar with his channel. It's my first time here, but yeah, let's, yeah, Marty Miller says, I can't stand Hobbit Greg. Who's Hobbit Greg? Yeah, explain who that is.
Coach Reg, in today's video, The Rock drops 100 pounds, or close to it. Ever since I called out The Rock for being a fake daddy, probably about 6 years ago, my first viral video of all time, I've been waiting to say this. The Rock has become a pebble. He's eroded, he's withered away. What you don't know, because you didn't watch my previous video, is that The Rock...
Okay, so let me preface this. The guy you're watching, he's a bit annoying. Okay, got it, okay. Okay, I could see that, right? He looks like one of these bodybuilding bros. And obviously, he's going to take the side of, well, The Rock's looking skinny because he's not skinny. He's, you know, buff and, you know, and hugged up. So he probably
was
has
suffering from cardiovascular
he
disease.
probably has you know, some things negative to say about this, right? Just like Daniel Hamid had something negative to say about me, and then he ran up out of here, and then he goes and he blocks me because he's tired of me showing his ha 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 ha. Wait, hold on. Let me do my Daniel Hamid impression, right? You know, the beardless Muslim. Ha 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 ha. I'm Daniel Hamid from the UK. Man, USA, USA. Oh man. Oh, hold on. You know what? Oh, okay.
Disease.
Wait. While I'm on that, hold on. Let me find Zayn Musa boxing Doucette's video on me and Daniel Hamid, right? You know, this is when the first time when Daniel Hamid came into my chat while me and Zayn were live streaming. Hold on, let me see if I can find this video of Zayn. Here it is, right here. First time.
Me is in the chat. I can't believe it. Yo, trust me, this is the real Daniel Hamid, okay? Trust me when I tell you, Zayn, this is the real Daniel Hamid. Okay? This nobody would be faking a Daniel Hamid, account, okay? Daniel Hamid, what's up? Hey, Daniel, do you want to join us? Do you want me to throw you a link, bro? What do you think? Are you sure? Daniel Hamid is in the chat, bro. Oh, man, as if this day isn't getting any better, bro. This is great. Daniel, man, how are you, brother? Everything good, yeah? You know what I mean? Shout out to Daniel Hamid, yo. If y'all don't know, I featured this brother on my Tom Aspinall video. You know what I mean? Out of all the UK people, you know, that I could do, that I could, like, I put him in a Tom Aspinall video because Hamid is in the chat. Yo, trust me, this is the real Daniel.
Okay. Hey Love says hi. Hey Love says, Salam Kyrie, it's good to be back here. Great to be back with you, brother. Good seeing you as well. Sorry, I was choked up on laughter on that one. Okay, back to this guy Greg on the Rock. Okay.
Right circumflex artery had a near complete blockage, and what does that mean? It means he's almost had a heart attack.
What they thought was plaque in the circumflex valve.
He's got his body scanned, and he discovered, oh, The Rock isn't invincible after all. He'd been using and abusing performance-enhancing drugs for years, and...
You mean like you, right? I'm sure you probably abused it once. Or, you know what? Let's be fair. This guy looks like one of those guys that sort of does it moderately, right? The Rock, on the other hand, he had to do it for wrestling. He had to do it for roles. He definitely had to do it to, keep up with the Mark Kerr physique. So, yeah.
And what do you think that does? Well, aside...
Toothbud says he admits to his steroid use. He's open about it, Toothbud says.
From building a freaking physique such as this,
how often would you say he does it, though, would you say?
it also causes a host of negative side effects, one of which, it sets you up for a heart attack. Your heart is going to grow bigger, which sounds good, but it's not. Left ventricular hypertrophy is not something that you want. It can increase LDL, lower HDL, and does a host of negative...
He claims to be on TRT NOS now. Okay, TRT now. Okay.
...things to your body. Hence, The Rock had to make a change, or he wouldn't be able to change ever again because he'd no longer be with us. And so he followed in the footsteps of none other than the legend Batista, who did the exact same thing. If y'all think that The Rock was natural, then I'm just talking out of my ass. explain how he lost all his muscles in a map.
So you're saying this guy used to compete in bodybuilding and cycling where he did abuse a lot more steroids, according to Toothbuds. Hate Love says, I think I legit heard he does it once a week, but only for a full gym week. It's so weird. I don't understand. Yeah. Man, yeah, they have ways of cycling, how they cycle.
I believe at this point, I have more muscle than The Rock. And I'm a 5'6" manlet. Remember, I'm on 140.
Now I know why this guy made this video. He wanted to make this video just to tell you guys, well, I have more muscles than The Rock. Greg says on low dose TRT now because he used to take a lot back in the days. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So he is a bodybuilder. He has that background. He did compete during that time. So yes, he probably had to, do what he needed to do.
Milligrams of HRT a week. And so my personal belief is this. I believe that The Rock has now lowered his doses. I don't think he's 100% natural. When you go from abusing steroids for perhaps 30 straight years...
JD says, I've never seen this dude say anything intelligent. I don't care who he is. Toothbud says, if he's honest about only using TRT currently, he's pretty damn good. Hate Love says, I'm a wrestling fan and I watch a lot of interviews about wrestlers and the juice and the long ads, and it's not talked about that he says that it's okay. NJ says, I'm pretty sure his channel is exposing fake naturals. For sure, yeah, for sure.
Your body is going to shut down. Your HPT axis is going to be lowered. You're not going to have testosterone produced. Your LH, FSH hormone.
Okay, so these, you know what? Shout out to this guy, though. He's dropping some very interesting knowledge about what happens to you after the fact of taking steroids. So, that's good. These are very good information. Toothbud says, yeah, I think he got popular from exposing fake natties. Okay, there you go. Probably Liver King would probably be one of them. I'm not familiar with this guy's content, but maybe that has something to do with it. Marty Miller says, bodybuilding is pretty gay, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it is, bro. Listen. You know what? Next time I go to Venice Beach, I think I need to, go on live stream next time I go to Venice Beach and just, work out like a maniac, on Muscle Beach, in front of the bodybuilders and just scare the living hell out of them. You know what I mean? Like, Fresh Melon Juice says, I also watch a lot of interviews about wrestlers and the Jays. Okay. Toothbud says, haha, definitely pretty G-A-Y. Fresh Melon Juice says, North-South BJJ is not G-A-Y. Balls on the face. But that's not the intentions, I would believe. Hate Love says, so G-A-Y. Daniel218 says, Greg's hard on The Rock and Hemsworth and the other fake natties, but he's over the top. Okay.
Hormones are going to be in the toilet. And so if he actually just cut out testosterone cold turkey, he would have brain fog. He would feel horrible. He wouldn't be able to use the downstairs effectively. It wouldn't be very good. However, with HRT at normal doses, perhaps 100 milligrams, perhaps 140, like Coach Greg, you can be normal. The Rock still looks amazing. Now, the only reason we're talking about this is because in comparison to how he looked before, he's significantly smaller. But if you showed me a man in his early 50s and he looked like The Rock, I'm saying, that is a stud. That is a stallion. What does he do to keep in such amazing shape? The only difference is he's not hopped up on abusive doses of test, and so on. You thought that previous physique was just up at 4:30, hardest worker in the room? Are you insane? The only way you lose that much muscle that quickly like that is if you go from abusing steroids to not. I mean, it's not as if he has some strange polymorphism like Hussein Farhat and was able to keep all his gains while cycling off. I mean, everyone can just take a bunch of steroids and keep all their gains, right? Wrong! When you take abusive levels of steroids and you stop, you don't maintain the same physique. And so The Rock, he likely watched Coach Greg's video and said, yeah, I need to hop off. I can't keep going. I will not survive.
There it is. So, Coach Greg, okay? it was Coach Greg that influenced The Rock to hop off of it, right? Just like I influenced Daniel Hamid to hop out of this chat, get completely dissed and obliterated in front of the world, and then he goes and he blocks me. You know what I'm saying? So Coach Kyrie, you know, did a thing or two with Daniel Hamid there. Okay, so JD Harold says, The Rock looks better now. If he carried on with the roids, he'd probably off himself. I think the dude is like 60 now. Is The Rock really that old? Okay, man, okay, that would make sense. Hey, and look at Hulk Hogan, right? It didn't work out too good for him. Toothbud says, it would be cool if The Rock came out and spoke honestly about this stuff. He would never do that because The Rock, I'm telling you, is one of the most media-trained professional actors and athletes I've ever seen in my life, right? There's no way that he's ever going to admit that because it's just not a good look. Hulk Hogan never admitted it, right? It was only in the reality TV show era in which he had, yeah, you know. Hey Love says, Harry, haha, you're a legend. Oh, well, okay, when you're spelling your, by the way, it's you, Y-U-Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Yeah, but Harry, it's Kyrie, but okay. His heart is 110. Okay, Harlow says, what do you think about the type of guys like The Rock who insists on being natural? I don't think people would care if they were honest from the start. So, you know what it is? It's this sense of elitism. And by the way, I hate to go back to Daniel Hamid, but this is exactly the mentality that people like The Rock have, very similar to that of Daniel Hamid. Look at his posts, right? He's obviously trying to diss me by saying, oh, well, you're sitting at 2,000 a day or this and that. Well, I have 1,000 subscribers. So, you know, if you think about it, that's actually exponentially high, you know, considering the fact that I only have 1,000 subscribers and then 1,000 more people are coming in here, you know, for that, right? He has this elite mentality where he believes like, all right, if I'm not going to be the best at it, I'm not going to do it anymore. And you know what? As a young man, I actually have experienced this type of mentality and this type of thinking. You know, as a matter of fact, when I first, you know, got into MMA, I started thinking, man, you know what? I can't believe this. This dude tapped me in practice and this and that. And I'm telling you, man, Daniel would be one of those guys that would quit jiu-jitsu, you know, in the first week just because he keeps getting tapped and would not, you know, allow himself to get better in any kind of way. So people want to look like they are already elite and they were born elite. Look, here's another thing, right? You ever met people that down other people for not knowing something, right? Well, first of all, how did you even know it in the first place? You had to learn it. But that's the problem, is that people don't want to learn, people don't want to grow, and people don't want to be honest. For example, there's this self-made complex that people have, right? I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? Obviously, living in California, right, I was around the hood. But living in Jersey, I was living in the suburbs. So the notion that, you know what, me being a college graduate, me being able to, you know, land certain jobs, certain positions, certain businesses, certain ventures that I had going on, it would be a lie to say that I did not grow up with privilege and help and just simply say, well, I did it on my own, right? There's a lot of guys that do that, right? I'll never admit that. I will never admit that where I am in life is because of my own or this and that. There's a lot of people behind me that have helped me along the way. What is the topic? The topic is basically The Rock being body shamed into losing 50 pounds. But what we found out from Coach Greg here in this video is that there seems to have been a lot of health scare issues that The Rock had to deal with in order to mitigate these problems that he had. So Harry Styles, Toothbud says, haha, Daniel can't catch a break. No, he can't, you know, because he came in here trying to ruin the beginning of the show. So I'm going to make him part of the show, and I'm going to make him part of the show in a very negative way until he, you know, until he learns his lesson or until I deem that he's had enough. So Hate Love says he can't He can't. He is the head of the TKO board. If it comes out that The Rock's whole life will be forever. Sorry, Kyrie. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, no problem, man. And then he says Harry Styles. JD asks, so you think they lie to basically convince themselves they did it naturally so that they can also say they're better than people who are natural? Yes, that is exactly what it is. It's an elitist mentality. That's the reason why Daniel will never get on YouTube, because he says that he's not going to get on YouTube if he doesn't get 1 million views. Well, explain to me what combat, channel, whether boxing or MMA, has 1 million views. MMA Guru doesn't even get 1 million views. So is MMA Guru going to quit because he doesn't get 1 million views? No. But that's the aspect of it. JD says, I know you more for I know you more for UFC content. Do you think the fighters are using steroids? If you look at Paddy Pimblett's debut, same as Tapora and many others, they look a lot skinnier and less muscular. Okay, so I can explain that right there. I'm going to replace that comment right there as a pin. I'm going to tell you this, right? So the reason why they're looking a little bit different later in the stages of their career is because when you are a starting out fighter, you're broke. You don't have a lot of food to eat. So, in other words, that correlates to being a little bit skinnier, being a little bit thinner, and as a result of that, you're now coming up. You're now going into these different restaurants. You're now able to buy different supplements. So there it is. I think he looks better. No homo. Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. Milky John says, I love black fighters. Okay, well, that is a specific group of people that you love as fighters. But, me, I'm a fight man. I love fighting. I love all fighting men, whether they're black, white, Muslim. Mostly the Muslim guys, of course. I'm not going to, lie about that and pretend I don't have favorites, right? You know what I mean? It's so crazy how people pretend they don't have favorites. I mean, look. You can look at me and say, all right, you know what? This guy has a favorite, right? I remember in one of the comments when I was doing the preview to Drickus and Kamzat, the guy says on the comment, well, I know who you're going for. I'm like, well, what do you mean you know who I'm going for? How do you know I don't have family in South Africa? There's a lot of Arabs in South Africa. There's a lot of, American expats in South Africa. How do you know that I don't got homies in South Africa? And how do you know? Yeah, you know what I mean? But that's what it is. That's so dumb. You can't start with 1 million views. So that's what I'm saying. He's deluded. He's deluded. So it's crazy that we're bringing him up. But yeah, but it does kind of correlate to why The Rock does not want to tell people that he is natural. Toothbud says, JD, I think a lot of UFC fighters are using something they won't necessarily get a lot bigger since they are doing a lot of cardio. There you go. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of the fact that they came up on a lot of money, so now they are able to go to different restaurants and eat a little bit more. Whereas I told you guys, man, I'm telling you, when you're a struggling fighter, it's easier to cut weight. Let me tell you that right now. When you are a struggling fighter, it is easier to cut weight because you don't have all the money in the world, right? I'll tell you what, when I came to California, I was living pretty modest. Next thing you know, I started getting into different business ventures. I started getting into car sales, right? Made a little bit more money, then started owning my own car lot after that. Co-owned it with another guy, an Egyptian guy. But, oh man, I got stories for days on that one. But I'm going to leave that for the members section only because it could get a little too gangster for that one. But then I started, eating a lot better, right? And then when you start eating a lot better, it's harder to, lose weight. So, what is this? Okay, so I agree, Toothbutts. They're definitely on something, and I definitely think the UFC picks and choose who they allow to juice too. Yeah, you know what? That's hard to deny. Fresh Melon Juice says Kyrie loves all men. Man, come on, bro. You know, don't do that. Don't do that. Fresh. Marty Miller says you are very Muslim biased. I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? Depends. It depends. You know, unless you're Daniel Hamid, then I could care less if some non-Muslim, white English guy knocks him out or whatever. I'm probably going to be rooting for the English guy like I'm, rocking a St. George flag. But you know what I mean. Exaggerating on that part, but you know what I mean. Milky John says, I love Kamaru Usman. His muscles are the best in the UFC. He is ripped and shredded. You know what? Donald Trump complimented Kamaru Usman for his physique. He said he was calling Kamaru Usman out on a rally. He's like, yeah, Kamaru Usman, what a guy. What do you guys think? I look like Kamaru Usman underneath this suit, huh? And the whole crowd started laughing. The whole crowd started laughing worse than you guys laughing at me dissing Daniel Hamid. Toothbud says, absolutely. He's the man whisperer, LOL. I always avoid those types of car lots. Avoid those types of car lots. Okay. I think I know what you meant. I think that was probably in reference to when I co-owned a car dealership. Fresh Melon Juice says you wouldn't trust an Egyptian and the island boy selling you a car. Listen, we were a very legit business. You know what I mean? The only problem though is the guy, was trying to cut me out of certain deals. And let me just say that I brought in, different racial elements, being the race whisperer that I am, to, make him cough up what was rightfully mine. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So Toothbud says, we're all a little biased. I'm Polish, so naturally I would root for the Polish guys. There you go, right? Combat sports will definitely make you biased, right? And boy, let me tell you, Terrence Crawford and Canelo are coming. Bro, you're going to see a black and brown crime like it was 90s Los Angeles, okay? Maybe even now, because there's a huge black on brown crime, gang wave going on right now. But yeah, J.E. says, who is this Daniel guy and why do we hate him? You don't have to hate him. I'm not one of these guys that, makes everybody hate a guy because I don't like him. I mean, if I let you guys decide for yourself, right? And then and many people on the chat have decided that the guy is a complete bell end, as they say in England. And, and he's just, a guy that chats a lot. Look, let me preface where me and Daniel's beef, stemmed from, right? He has beef with Zain Musa boxing dosage, right? His friends versus, versus Zain Musa's friends. So that's really where I draw the line with that, right? He says, I don't hate Daniel. I don't know him from a can of paint. He's just a dork, LOL. Well, there you go, right? So you think he's a dork. You don't got to hate him. But I let you guys decide what is what. Because as you know, right, I'm a very honest guy. I let honesty play the reality of things, right? Just like yesterday. Okay, what did I do yesterday? I did, an open workout session on the live stream. There were a few people on here that were giving me, giving me some constructive criticism. Did I go and say, you don't know anything, you've never fought before, this and that? No. All right, you know what? If I should shoot in on my takedown in an angle, then I'm going to do that. It's just, a good reminder. Why am I not going, unless, of course, you're trying to be, you're trying to be a dickhead and you're, purposely trying to, antagonize me, that's one thing. But, that's not the case. There were people that, that were, that meant well. LOL Fresh, I haven't heard about this CEO of the company. He says, Drog or something. Fresh Melon Juice says, what do you think about the Polish CEO? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember that. At the, when he took that hat from the tennis player, I remember that. But I think he came back and gave the hat, gave another hat to the kid. But it's one of those things where, reputational damage, cannot be reversed. The CEO of Poland, you chat are funny. Toothbud says, JD was just talking-ish, thought he was a fighter, so he pulled up some of his boxing clips and they were comedic to say the least. There you go. But also keep in mind, this is one of Zain Musa's enemies, in that side of the pond. And, if you are my friend, your enemy is my enemy, and that's just, what it is. That's just what I'm going to ride on. A lot of you guys in the chat, seem to be very loyal to me. So guess what, man? Let me tell you something. There is no loyalty like a Californian who comes from the gangbang culture. I'm just going to tell you that right now, okay? Anybody who comes from California that is about that life, I'm telling you, the loyalty that you're going to get out of these people is second to none. And that is the reason why I love the West Coast. I represent the West Coast. I throw up the W's, just like I get the W's. So that's what it is. Throw up the W's like you get in the W's. You know what I mean? So JD says, it's weird how fighting is the only sport people call out bias towards a nationality. If a Brazilian guy supports a Brazil in football World Cup, no one would care. Because there's a lot that that is at stake at fighting, so I think that has something to do with it. Milky John says, at Marty Miller, you said that you don't know him yet. You say he's a dork. How do you know he's a dork? Well, because he sort of displayed it, right? Marty Miller says, I saw pictures and videos and have watched him try to troll Kyrie, major dork. Right, and then his comeback is yo mama jokes, right? Like, okay, if you were to go in a battle rap with Eminem, do you honestly think that Eminem would care if you talked about his mom? You know what he said to Benzino? He said, slap my mom. Goes do this, that, and the other. She can't sue you because you're broke as fuck and you're a joke. When he was dissing Benzino. But yeah, JD says, is this Daniel guy English? He's Pakistani British. What a letdown. An Englishman, I can tell you, he doesn't represent us. Most of us are friendly, although we like to take a piss a lot. Well, JD, man, listen, I got nothing but love for all, my white Englishmen, all my Muslim, English, British, Irish. I love your part of the world. I really do. And I got allies in that part of the world. Zain Musa Boxing Dosage is one of them. But enemies know no boundaries and know no borders. And, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to fight my enemies, whether foreign or domestic. And that's how it's going to go. But, shout outs to the English. I love the English. They are some of my biggest supporters on YouTube. And, and I love your fight culture, bro. I love the whole Sweet Caroline. Man, I love all that, man. Just right before the fight starts, bro, I love it. It is wonderful. Fresh Melon Juice says, I think Daniel, he's moving his body, working out, not... Oh, my God, man. Okay, that's a little extreme right there, Fresh. What do you think, Marty? Is that a little too much for Fresh to say that? Fresh, listen, man, I love you, bro. But you got to understand, right? I'm all about freedom of speech here. But by the end of the day, we're all, employees of YouTube. So, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sorry. We got to... Yeah. No, I don't take any offense to that, okay? I love you, bro, but, I'm just trying to cover my own ass, at the same time. So, but, that is the theme of the channel, right? Is that I represent free speech, but also understand a couple of things. With that free speech, I'm going to call you out on it, just like how I called out Daniel earlier today, right? Me and him had a little bit of a beef going on. So, you know what? I decided that I'm just going to, come in here and do that. Look, Daniel has been saying a lot of things about me. He said that I should quit YouTube. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? He's telling me I should quit YouTube. Bro, if I should quit YouTube, do you know how many people out there should actually quit YouTube themselves, right? Like, that is insane to say. But JD says, thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Yeah, man, much love to the UK, bro. Toothbud says, yeah, JD, I think he lives in the UK. That is in reference to Daniel Hamid. So if you want to know, he lives in Peterborough. He claims to be from Birmingham, right? The same hood as Leon Edwards. But, I think it's one of those classic cases where he lives in a small town and wants to claim, a big city next to it. Very similar to here in Sacramento, right? There's a lot of people that live in Roseville, Woodland. What else is a surrounding, you know, town around here? Roseville, the Hills, right? That's not Sacramento. Sacramento is Sacramento, right? So it's one of those things, right? But he claims Birmingham, but he's really from Peterborough, and he sounds like this. He sounds like, yeah. But check out my Tom Aspinall video. I featured him in it, right? And the reason why I featured him in it is because his friend did not bring him to his fight. He literally had to pull out of a fight because he couldn't get a ride. So, Hate Love says, Kyrie is living in Daniel's head, rent-free, game over. Toothbud says, oh shit, I graduated from UC Davis right next to you. Oh man, there it is. All right, so you're UC Davis. I'm, you know, Sac State. I think there's a little bit of a rivalry there. But yeah, shout out to UC Davis, man. I've been to the UC Davis campus, you know, a lot. So what's next for Justin Gaethje? It appears he will retire soon. Not if he gets a shot at Ilia Topuria. That's for sure. JD says, keep the content coming, man. It's refreshing to have mature conversations about a number of topics covering all opinions. There you go, man. That's what I try to, you know, represent for you guys, right, is the whole side of the story. You know, and even with this beef that I got with Daniel, I'll tell you his side of the story too, right? You know, Daniel is one of those guys that, okay, you know what he does? He steals Muhammad Bilal's line. He says, remember the name Bilal, remember the name Daniel Hamid. I'm like, bro, do you want me to call Bilal Muhammad's, you know, lawyers for that? Like, yo, you're stealing this man's, you know, catchphrases. It's bad enough that Bilal Muhammad gets flack for being Bilal Muhammad, and yet you over here, you want to, you know, steal his, you know, his catchphrases. That's wild to me, bro. Yeah, no kitty talk. Yeah, definitely a rivalry. All love, though. Yeah, man. Marty Miller says, suppose they're trying to make the Gaethje Topuria fight. Yes, for December, I believe. Marty Miller says, I personally enjoy the trolls coming in here. Love it when Kyrie goes at them. Yeah, bro. Because, look, a lot of these people don't understand, right? Like, I've been in rivalries in the streets before to where, you know, it got ugly, right? Like, I'm talking about like private enemies, right? I'm not talking about like online enemies. Like, I tell you what, man, some of the people that I have rivalries with in real life, in the streets, whether it's in the East Coast or the West Coast, a part of me wishes these guys had channels. A part of me wishes these guys knew how to rap. A part of me wish that these guys knew how to get in front of the camera, because the day that they do, my God, the type of content that I will drop on them will be absolutely epical proportions that matches the Hiroshima bombing of Japan. And of course, I had to do a long pause on that one to really reiterate all of that. Kyrie raps? No way. No, I don't rap. What I'm saying is that if I had rivals that rap, that would be great for me, right? I'm talking about like private enemies that I have in the streets or, you know, elsewhere, right? Like if they really knew how to rap, that would be great for me. So, all right, I'm going to show you guys a buddy of mine in Sacramento that I'm trying to, you know, uplift here, right? His name is the Tongan Trapper. Okay, I want you guys to tap into his channel. I'm going to show you some shorts that he had about regarding MMA Guru. Okay, so, all right, this is what he said about the Reggie Jackson situation. Check this out. Check out my boy right here. This is Tongan Trapper from Sacramento, right? So I'm trying to, you know, increase the content creation in Sacramento. So I'm going to feature all of my Sacramento guys. And, you know, this is a homie of mine. So check this out.
Look, I'm responding to Psycho Stu getting hurt by Rampage Jackson, getting slammed in the ring like that hard. You know, I'm reacting the same way that YT folks, you know, respond to, you know, black folks getting unalived or, you know, by the police or, you know, brutalized, you know, or, you know, brown folks getting sent out to, you know what I'm saying, back to Mexico, you know, even though they was born here in America, you know what I'm saying, even though they're really real citizens here, you know what I'm saying. I'm reacting the same way, you know, YT people, you know, how the same way they react to that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I understand that, you know, YT folks right now, they really upset, you know. I understand you guys are really, really upset, and I get it. I get it. But this is things that, you know, us people, we've been seeing happen to our people for hundreds of years. You know, so I just want everybody to, you know, be understanding of that too. We understand that Roger Jackson, you know, made a mistake, but that doesn't, you know, make him exempt of, you know, redemption, redeeming himself in the future. You know, when he's about 30, you know what I'm saying? When he's about 35, 40, you know, I'm pretty sure he's going to be a great man in the future. He's going to be a good man, you know, change his life, you know what I'm saying? And he's going to do good in the future. So let's not sit here and condemn him. Let's not sit here and crucify Roger Jackson. And, you know, let's just all try to be understanding. We all make mistakes when we're young. He's a young man, you know what I'm saying? Prayers to Psycho Stu, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully he can heal up, you know, with a speedy, great recovery from Yahweh. And, you know, everything go good for his family. I'm pretty sure he's going to get some money out of this, you know what I'm saying? And let's all pray for both ends. Let's pray for, you know, Roger Jackson, you know, because I'm pretty sure he feels, you know, bad right now. I'm pretty sure he feels like he failed. So let's pray for him too. Let's not just, you know, just harp on him and just, you know, because, you know, it ain't like he the enemy to America, all right? You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm responding to...
All right, so thank you for that sub, by the way, Hate Love. Drop him a comment as well. Tell him that, you know, Kyrie sent you. I'm sure he'll, you know, really, the homie will really appreciate it. JD says, oh, give it a rest. Anyone who makes a Raja situation or any situation that isn't about race is an idiot. I agree with that. And Tongan Trapper here absolutely emphasizes that. So Rampage Jackson is terrible. I can't get why people worship him. Life is important. The Rock is worship the Rock. No way. Fresh Melon Juice says, not a word about the systemic R in England or genocide in Gaza. Got it. Okay. So Milky John says, it's definitely not a race thing a bit. It's Rampage himself pulling the race card. Maybe, right? He feels that people threatening him has some racial component to it. You can agree or disagree with that. Only Rampage can understand the depth of the reality in this. Fresh Melon Juice says, yeah, let us pause and take a breather, eat a good meal, and pretend to care for a few minutes to make us feel good. Okay, so JD Harrell says, sorry, Kyrie, your buddy is an idiot. Whoa, okay. A bit much here, but that is your opinion, okay? To bring up the persecution of black people faced in the past is just completely irrelevant. Well, is it though, or is it that he is bringing this up as to, you know, try to understand the motivation of why people are so mad at Raja, right? Milky John says, just have a fresh melon juice. Okay, so let's hear what he had to say, had to react to MMA Guru. Okay, he had something to say about MMA Guru here. So check this out right here.
Awesome Raja doing a classic 13%. I mean, I'm sick of seeing it, raining down shots and unanswered. Dead people, like he's unconscious on the ground, you just slammed him on his head.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're throwing 12 unanswered punches over and over again until you're trying to get... And the ref and all those bitches in the ring that didn't stomp his fucking out when he...
Yo, shoutouts to Tongan Trapper's thing that he has where he has that thing where when you die in GTA, that little sound that you do. Let me rewind that back a little bit.
And the ref and all those bitches in the ring...
That sound.
His fucking out when he was doing that. Bro, Raja should have got fucking knocked out cold in that ring. No one was doing anything about it but that pink hair guy.
So, yeah, the people should have stopped all the cops that you with Sandra playing too. And
okay, you guys are not going to like what he says here, but I think it is important to hear it.
All the police brutality and all the ICE agents that do all the things they do to black and brown folks. I mean, hey, there's you know, now this is a clear example of how, you know, black and brown folks been feeling for hundreds of years.
Shout out to the pink hair guy for jumping in the ring and trying to stop him. Brother, dumb animal put in a cage.
Oh, dumb animal.
Straight up.
Okay, now this is where Tongan Trapper and many others have a problem with what MMA Guru said, right? The connotation of calling him an animal, I think has, yeah, so listen to this.
He's not a human.
not allowed in society?
He's not allowed in society. I think he is.
Okay, now let me explain why Tongan said, all right, I think he is. Because let me tell you guys, okay, people like me and Tongan Trapper, we've seen, well, how do I say this? You know, certain people of Raj's demographics that are really about that gangster life, right? And maybe you can make an argument that they don't belong in society because of how dangerous they are. Raja is not that. Raja grew up with white kids, is a vegan, and grew up around MMA. And I've told you guys, if you grow up or around MMA, more than likely you're going to be around a lot of white people, especially MMA in the United States.
Control yourself, dumb bit.
I think he should control himself, but I mean, I don't know about all that, bro.
Get it.
F him.
Bring that sparring partner back so they don't kick him again. Dumb animal.
Dumb animal. So you're dehumanizing a black man now because you didn't like what he did. You didn't like that he beat up this white man, this older white man.
Thoughts on Raja doing a classic?
So he calls him a dumb. He really wants to say what he really wants to say the N-word. Let's get real. He really wants to say the N-word. Like he really did. That nigga was itching to say it.
Thoughts on Raja doing a classic 13%? I mean, I'm sick of seeing it. Raining down shots and unanswered. Dead people.
Okay, so you guys understand now, right? Like, why someone like Tongan or even myself would think that MMA Guru really wanted to say the N-word but can't due to the fact that he's a big-time YouTuber, and any YouTuber that goes out and says that is just an automatic, you know, disruption to your channel. So he says, I agree with MJ. Okay, so let's see here. Milk John says, the concept of race needs to be erased from people's mind. I agree. I agree with that to a certain extent, right? But it is something that we can't ignore, and it is something that we have to, you know, not necessarily promote, but, you know, something that is a reality of life. JD says there's definitely some idiots that will use this situation to be racist, but you need to address people directly and not just say YT people. Okay, so JD says using generalizations like black and white just furthers the problem. Correct. Marty Miller says, I think it's irrelevant too. At some point, we have to move past the whole slavery point. Every race of people has been slaves at one point. Yeah, you know what? That's hard to argue, man. That is hard to argue. That is true. MMA Guru was harsh but necessary, according to Milky John. So, let's see here. Miller says he agrees with MJ. I didn't see that fresh, but good. Fresh Melon Juice says, did you see Donald Rollins starting a sentence with a black man at Kill Tony? The crowd started to boo, and Tony had to tell him he's not in LA. We don't play that game. Wow, okay. JD says, and I quote, black people have faced persecution, so let's nearly beat an innocent man to death. A man who nonetheless has defended freedom and people of color. Any take that even talks about race is just stupid. Hate Love says, Tongan Trapper rocks. All right, man. Well, be sure to tell him that. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. You know, he's, you know, trying to grow his channel as I'm trying to grow my channel. So, you know, we're just trying to put our city of Sacramento on the map. Milky John says, whoa, the guy is downplaying Raja's punching an unconscious man and giving importance to so-called racism. Well, here's the thing, right? I think that's kind of natural if you come from, you know, a certain environment, like in particular an urban environment, you know, where, I mean, yeah, these things are just prevalent. It's just the reality of the situation, I suppose, right? So, Fresh Melon Juice says, Donnell Rawlings also said something racist to Mexican comedians. Rob Schneider interrupted and explained black people can't be racist because they're black. Okay, Marty Miller says, yeah, they can say anything. Okay, interesting. All right, guys, so with that in mind, unfortunately, that is all the time that I have right now. It has been a great show. We covered a lot of the things that we talked about with The Rock. Let's see here. We talked about the Smashing Machine movie, Mark Kerr. Okay, we didn't really get into that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so there it is. I renamed it Dissing Online Trolls Viciously. Kyrie, when is your next live stream? Maybe sometime today. Did you watch Jesse? Yes. Oh, yes, Marty. Yes, I did. I know who that guy is. I didn't know his name. Yes, I've been watching for a while. Yeah, that dude is definitely absolutely, politically incorrect. All right, so you guys want a bonus round. All right, we'll do it like this, right? Let me play one of my live scams as what's his name, says, and yeah, and then we will go from here. Okay, so let me see what audio I can play here in the meantime. Okay, so yeah, let's go back 1 month ago with Hulk Hogan. Okay, no, actually, you know what? Hold on. Yeah. You know what? How about this? Okay, since Terrence Crawford's fight is a Russian bonus round, he says, Inshallah, have a blessed day. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to have a bonus round. Religion and race has also created unwanted division and has destroyed the integrity of humanity. Punisher says, Salam alaikum, brother. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Marty Miller says 100%, John. Okay, so 1 year ago, Bomac, the trainer of Terrence Crawford, went to the UK and got arrested for bringing guns into a private plane. Okay, I think Crawford gets it done. Good. So, all right, we're going to play this. This was a year ago, and obviously I talked about MMA Guru getting doxxed on this one 1 year ago, and you'll obviously see a difference in hairstyles that I have, so here it goes. Carry something like that. Old man gets detained at an airport in the UK, probably somewhere in the Heathrow area of London, because of gun charges and carrying a gun with him, when a lot of people know that it's quite illegal to carry something like that in England. And in the other news cycle that I'd like to bring up is MMA Guru crying on stream because he got doxxed. Now, I thought these two stories are really interesting to bring together in the sphere of combat sports, and I'm going to tell you why. For one, you got to understand the measurements that you have to take when you travel. In other words, what a lot of people have to understand, especially if you are an American or if you are a British person or you are a person that lives in a very privileged Western country, one of the things that you have to understand is whatever privileges that you enjoy in your own country, you're not going to have that same enjoyment or right in other countries. Not the same rights of freedom of speech, not the same rights of open carries in terms of lawful or unlawful gun registrations or gun ownership. And these are things to take into consideration. Also, the local laws with what you can and can't do. For example, the extreme end of an example that I could give is if, let's say, you're in North Korea, you can't do certain things that would somehow make the leader look bad, or step out of line when it comes to using media, or what kind of media you can use in a limited amount that the local authorities are allowing you to have or not allowing you to have. These are all important factors to take care into consideration. With MMA Guru, what I found very fascinating about this guy is, for those of you that don't know MMA Guru, let me give you guys a brief summary of who he is. He's an MMA YouTuber straight from London, very successful at his endeavor as a YouTuber, and by the way, because he started out with very few highlight effects in his, how do I say this, in his content. It's not very high it's not high quality, as you could say. I mean, he uses a camera, he uses a phone, he uses a webcam, and shoots in his mother's basement, from the way that a lot of people describe it, and then other people may say that he was doing it at a shed, but nonetheless, he's a very private guy. You don't know his real name. Okay, because it's not like with this kind of channel that I have, I'm giving you my whole first name. I've fought before, I've competed before, so I don't have a problem with using my name as some sort of way to try to launch my platform in any kind of degree. And then plus, if I get some sort of awards or anything like that, I want it to go straight to my name, and there's no undisputed like claims in terms of who is the owner of this channel. But nonetheless, that's neither here or there. He tries to play a character that says something to the effect of, okay, well, I'm just this online character. This is my name. It's not my real name. So if, let's say, you have certain laws in the UK that can be deemed as hate speech or speech that goes against the local policies and what have you, then he can just go out and say, well, I'm just a character and I'm just playing a role. And this is what he does, right? Over the years, he's gained a mass amounts of followings. He's got beef with the likes of Aljamain Sterling. He got into it with Michael Bisping. He got into it with a whole load of MMA fighters. There's some that support him. Bryce Mitchell is one of the guys that supports him. MMA Guru is friends with Jesse on Fire. Luke Thomas has called him out in a subliminal way, not really calling him out by name. So he's in the sphere of being an influencer in the MMA social media world, or in particular in YouTube. And he's done a very good job over the years of really protecting his identity. And then all of a sudden, people went and doxed and they found out who he was. Now, that right there is alarming. And this is why it's really important to make this video. Because you gotta understand, for a guy that made a conscious effort in not disclosing any information about himself, still went out there and got himself in trouble with other people online, maybe other people didn't like what he had to say. I mean, let's face it. Let's be honest about MMA Guru. The guy says a lot of horrible things about other people in ways that is sort of subliminal, in ways that is for value of entertainment, and that's something you have to take into consideration. But nonetheless, where is the line drawn in reality and fiction? And that's something that we got to try to understand with MMA Guru. So, I'm not going to say that I'm happy that he got doxxed, but I am going to say the guy deserved it to a certain degree. I mean, look, you play dumb games, you get stupid prizes. And of course, the guy... All right, so there it is, guys. You play dumb games, you win stupid prizes, and you guys win a bonus round for today because, yeah, I'm going to take you guys with me while we finish off the bonus stream. So welcome to the bonus stream, right? Where we talk about anything and everything mostly related to life lessons that we can draw from in the world of combat sports and everything else in between. So let me see here. Let me read some of the comments that we got here. Fresh, you got Wi-Fi, go find it yourself. Hate Love says, John, but that would never work. We all have different religions and your views from our environment. So all should be one color. What is the point then if we'll just go back, if that will just go to rich and poor, still a division? That's true, yeah. Fresh says, I own the internet. Let me see some of the comments I made here. Milk John says, good points. Okay, so basically, the thing that you guys are arguing about is division, right? The division that is prevalent amongst people, right? Well, look, I'll tell you this, right? In regard to what there's a verse in the Quran, right? On into tribes and nations, that's significant, right? Obviously, God recognizes that there are differences amongst all of us. Okay, and what are those differences? Those differences can range from, let's say, society, range can differ from, let's say, social class, which is what was referenced earlier. That could also be race, right? Obviously, but then people divide themselves based on race, based on religion, based on regional locations. So that's something that's always going to be prevalent, right? Is noticing the difference that we have. Now, the ultimate test that Allah puts us through is what exactly do we do with those differences? Do we use those differences as a way to somehow fester evil? Or are we going to use it for good? Are we going to use it to recognize that, hey, you know what? These group of people, or this individual versus this individual is good at this, and then that individual is good at that, right? So there are all these factors. The video, look up Bomac arrested in the UK and MMA Guru getting doxxed. That was about 1 year ago. JD says, hate or love, not like India has had a caste system for thousands of years. Correct. Hate love says, John, no, British came and divided the Muslims, Indians, and Christianity. They split out the land to Pakistan and Indian. I'm not explaining properly, but there would be no racism if there. Wow. Okay, so that's a very charged statement to make right there. Fresh Melon Juice says Kazuntai. Okay, so that was from earlier. JD says tribal warfare is part of human nature, unfortunately. I think we as a decent humans need to disregard the theories of race and nationality because we're all humans. Okay, so I'm gonna emphasize on that, JD. Nationalism, believe it or not, is antiquatedly against Islamic values, because the Prophet Muhammad said, peace be upon him, that nationalism is evil. You should stay away from it. And there is an Arabic term for nationalism. In Arabic, it is called asabiya, right? Asabiya is something that a lot of Arabs practice, right? They believe that, okay, well, if I'm from this part of, you know, Arabia or this part of the Middle East, that somehow I'm better than you because I'm Syrian and I'm Saudi, or you're Yemeni and I'm, you know, an Emirati. So therefore there's a difference. But in reality, we're all Arabs. We all share the same language, and if not the same religion. But at the same time, Allah also says in the Quran that we were made into tribes and nations so we can get to know one another. So how do you decipher those two notions? Well, I think the notion that you have to understand with that is you must have a balance with that, right? There has to be a balance. Okay, that is the ultimate thing that we got to understand about this. There has to be a balance in understanding our differences, but then there also has to be a balance in understanding the fact that we are all different, and we all have our own skills that we can use, and we all have to learn how to live harmoniously with each other in order for society to thrive. So Milk John says, but think about it. How better would have been if that was the case? Milky John says, agreed, sir, at JD. So he agrees with JD on that one. Hate Love says, John, that would never work. We all have different religions. Okay, so that was a comment earlier about, you know, if there wasn't race, there would be the aspect of rich versus poor. And you know what? I think there is that in our society right now, where there is a divide between rich and poor due to the fact that the inflation is so high, the cost of living is so high, and then on top of that, people are just not making enough money nowadays to where they're not able to save any money. They're not able to keep savings. They're not able to have any funds when an emergency comes, right? And that's kind of sad, because if you think about it, like, many Americans don't even have $300 or $400 in their bank account. Okay, let alone, you know, thousands of dollars for an emergency of some sort. And that's, you know, that's a serious issue. Hate Love, at JD, Hate Love, you said it yourself. The issues are class issues, not race. The quicker we leave the race argument, the quicker we move on. Okay, so I'm going to mark that comment, JD, okay? Because you as an Englishman, you as a British guy, this is something that you guys are sort of, experiencing in the UK or always have. See, this is something that I've noticed in the UK, right? It's not so much about race. Although there are racial issues, there are BLM factions in the UK. There are black supremacists, like we have black supremacists in the UK. There are white supremacists, like we have white supremacists in the US. But the main issue that I think a lot of British people have is always been class. And I always found that, there's this sensitivity to class awareness, right? Michael Bisping, who grew up in a working class family, has said this plenty of times, right? He said that he felt like he grew up with a certain chip on his shoulder. Like if somebody said that, oh, well, you can't afford to do this or you can't afford to do that, that somehow, somehow they're no good, or somehow they are, made to be, to feel less of. This is something that's very common with a lot of British people, right? It's a very class conscious society. And also, from what I heard from many entrepreneurs in the UK, they say that it's a lot harder to move up a social class in the UK than it is in the United States. So I don't know how true that is, or or how factual that is, but that is anecdotal evidence from a lot of people. Fresh Melon Juice says, I own the internet. Yes. Hate Love says, no, it's not race. It will be something else. Very true. If it's not race, it could be about religion. It could be about class. Hate Love, think Wi-Fi is the internet. Milky John says, but honestly, future doesn't look good. It doesn't look too bright. Too many powerful people use these as a tool to control and manipulate common men. Yeah, that's very true. That's hard to deny. Marty Miller says, I just got back. Hate Love is saying whites are the sole reason for racism. So here's the thing, right? That's what's very complicated about that particular topic is this, right? It is not necessarily that whites are the reason for racism to exist. It's just that there's a certain group of whites that have made that a problem, right? And then to say that that's all of white people, I think is a sad, mistaken sense of generalization, right? So I wouldn't put it like that. What I will say is, all right, you know what? There were a group of people in history who just happened to be white that committed these atrocities. And therefore, this is a reason why we have these historical outrages of certain, of certain issues, right? So, yeah. Okay, so JD says, hate love. Exactly, my friend. It should never be about race. Hate Love says, yes, John, I think we need a balance and respect all. Milky John says, the reality of our world is actually sad. Crisp says, what did God say about race then? Okay, that's an interesting question. JD says, John, I think you spend too much time on the internet, mate. The world is full of beautiful people. Well, that's certainly true, right? I think that is true. Now, look, imagine, right? I'm in this dynamic of U.S. racial politics, right? I'm part of this dynamic because I live in this country. But then I go to England, I meet somebody like JD at a coffee shop. I'm like, wow, you know what? This Englishman is actually kind of cool. We like the same things. We like fighting. We like football, or soccer as we call it in the United States. I like Manchester City. JD likes, I don't know, maybe... let me name a random team. Don't be offended. Brunley or something like that, or Aston Villa or something like that, right? So, Milky John says, JD, yes, sir, I do. I'm not very social and don't have much friends. Okay. Fresh Melon Juice says, maybe the world, in fact, hell, everything kills everything in the most brutal way. El Chaz says, I got a question. Why did you wipe him? Why did you wipe him up to get him in the ring, if you knew what kind of person he was and what his dad trained him for? That's a very good question, right? Because that guy, AJ Mana, I believe he had beef with Stu in the backstage. And you know what? Maybe he did set him up to get beat up. And that is a theory that I would not put past him. So Hate Love says, thank you, Kyrie. This is what I meant. I'm just not good at explaining myself. Yeah, no problem, man. That's why we're all here, to have this discourse in order to kind of understand each other and where everybody is coming from. El Chaz says, but you let the cowboy do a full blame when you're the one who invited him there. Very true. El Chaz says, hi, how are you? Marty Miller says, it does say the earth is the devil's world. You know what, Marty? I'm going to mark that comment, right? Because there is an Islamic component to what you said, and I'm going to tell you exactly what that is, right? The Quran states that this world that we live in, it is a prisoner for the believers and paradise for the disbelievers and those that worship Satan. So, you know, if you're saying that from a Christian component, there is a cross-reference to that reality. Chris says, we already have a class issue. Yes. Hater of love. Yes, Kyrie, that is so true. I'm surprised you already knew it. Respect. For sure, man. El Chaz says, I want to know how bad Detroit is. Why don't you look up what Donald Trump said about Detroit? When he was too scared to come to Detroit because I'm from the murder city. El Chaz says, bro, you can't blame that on white people, bro. Then I'll blame it on you for all the race war, bro. If you want to play prison rules, you better grab my pocket. Wow, okay. JD says Chelsea. Okay, so you like Chelsea, JD. I'm assuming you're probably an upper middle class or a middle class white guy who lives in a very posh area, right? Just from what I understand about British and English society, maybe that's you. If not, let me know. I'm always curious to know where my followers and listeners are, and you know, and what kind of life they lead. So El Chaz says, and if you want to know who really is like that right now, Donald Trump. Okay, very interesting. Milky John says, at El Chaz, will Epstein files be out? El Chaz says, look, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, one of the richest cities back in the day. Yes, I remember that. A lot of, you know, cars they manufacture there. At the same time, if you want to see real zombies and people being homeless and people treated wrong, come to my city. Yeah, Detroit ain't no joke, man. That's for sure. El Chaz says, because we're a different kind of people out here, and Donald Trump is even scared to come to my city. He didn't come down without the military. Wow, talk about a waste of taxpayers' money, right? Milky John says, I'm good. I'm staying far away from Detroit, as well as you should. Fresh Melon Juice says, at El Chaz, Democrats sold out the auto industry and killed Detroit, but you silly people keep voting Democrat. El Chaz says, what's going to cross the internet and what the cowboy's saying is that it's your fault. You're the one who invited them there, so both of y'all should go to court and be charged for at least 10 years. El Chaz says, and you all should have jumped in the ring and stopped that guy and knew it was a serious fight. JD says, a working class, and I'm from Hounslow. Laughing my ass off. Not a nice area at all. Okay. Hey Love says, Hounslow. Yeah, bro, it's an effed up area. LOL. I gotta look up that area and see what you guys are talking about. El Chaz says, when you could have saved your friend's life, bro, just tells people on YouTube what kind of person you really are. Wow. Yeah, so there's a lot of people out there that are very similar to AJ Mana, right? They are like just absolute instigators. I knew a kid like that in high school. His name was Jeff Gerges, right? So if he's anywhere listening to this, man, I'm telling you, a lot of people in my town, they hate when I mention their names, right? you know, but I don't know, man. You know, one of these days I might end up, you know, with a lawsuit by doing that. But anyways, yeah, Jeff Gerges, right? He was this Jordanian Christian, you know, so he's an Arab Christian. He always used to like really get people to fight. Oh, you know, he said you're a punk or this and that. Oh, you're not going to slide on this or this and that. I mean, there are people out there that are like that. AJ Mana kind of reminded me of Jeff Gerges in a way, right? That's just kind of how his trajectory is. He's that type of guy where, you know, he tells one guy one thing and then provokes the other guy. And yeah, man. Let's see here. Milky John says, yeah, he's an instigator rat. Fresh Melon Juice says, Hans Lo, may the force be with you. Okay, so a little Star Wars reference there by Fresh Melon Juice. So, you know what, Fresh? I'm curious, my man. How did you come up with the name Fresh Melon Juice? I'm just curious to know, right? Are you, you know, are you a guy that likes to, and I don't mean this in, you know, in a derogatory term of speaking on steroid use, but obviously juicing is a real thing, right? Meaning that, you know, you take a few fruits together, you smash it up and turn it into juice. Is that, you know, sort of, you know, what motivated you to have a name like that? If so, let me know in the comment section below, my man. But yeah, Fresh Melon Juice says, I'm a black racist. Well, yeah, you know, that's what intrigues me about you, Fresh. You know, one day you're this, the other day you're that, and believe me, you have every right to be anonymous, right? This is the thing about the internet, right? I know I probably said this a few times too, where I kind of diss people into being anonymous, meaning that like, okay, well, you're talking smack, so the next thing I'm going to say is, well, you're not man enough to, you know, reveal yourself. And the truth is, in the internet, you have the right to reveal yourself or not reveal yourself. Right now, obviously, me as a content creator and as a YouTuber, the one thing that I have to face is a reality of scrutiny from people. And that reality and scrutiny from people is pretty much predicated on the reality that, hey, you know what, man? People are going to talk smack to me because it is just the natural reality of the internet. It is just the natural reality of the internet, and I have to abide by those consequences. Now, with Fresh, he is the symbol of what everybody is on the internet. You know what I'm saying? He's the symbol of what everybody is on the internet, and that's sort of like the, you know, symbolic reason why I like you. Okay? Marty Miller says I'm a C-word. Okay. So, Fresh Melon Juice says, wow, I like black people, Milky John says. El Chaz says, I would have jumped in the ring and stopped that fight, bro. In the recreation that jumped in the fight too, but at the same time, I think that wrestling show should be sued for everything that they have. Man, you know what? It would be kind of unfair if you think about it, right? If you think about it, it's kind of unfair because Rikishi, the owner of that wrestling league, was not there, right? And also, once again, it is like day 10 since that incident happened, and there have been no arrests. For the past 10 days, everybody has just been, you know, talking about that incident, but to no avail. El Chaz says, I think the wrestling show should be sued for everything they have. You guys did that to that man because you guys hyped somebody up that was only 25 years old. Same thing happened to King Von. Where is he at? Ooh. I'm going to mark that comment right there. Yeah, because, you know, I'm very familiar with the King Von story. Very familiar with it, right? Well, what happened after King Von got unalived? Little Dirk, his homie, the guy that's his stablemate, he decided to hire, well, not hire, but, you know, his own goons, guys that comes from his neighborhood, guys that come from his gang, right? Which is, by the way, very impressive if you think about it, right? I've never heard of a Chicago gang coming to California to go shoot up non-Californians, right? And look, I'm not here to glorify crime or anything like that, but, you know, just looking at it in hindsight, wow, it's kind of impressive if you think about it. So, racist, a CIA agent, he says, everybody wants to talk about race, but who's making the race word America? Donald Trump. Man, had Raja did that to another black person, no one would even care. You know what? Yo, listen, Mr. Burberry, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. I think there is something to that, right? Like, look, when you look at Stu, okay, and I'm trying to look at this from a lens of a white man, whether in America or in England or anywhere else in the English-speaking world, right? You look at Stu, he looks like a jolly old white guy, you know, looks like one of your uncles, looks like, you know, somebody that means no harm, you know, looks like somebody that likes to banter around and play around. But the other aspect of that is, well, you know what, man? It goes back to the tribalism thing, right? You see someone like that and it affects you in a very negative way. Look, here's the thing. As an Arab man, do you not think that it kills me to see Palestinian children get massacred by the IDF? Of course it does. Why? Because you're of the same ethnicity, same religion as those people. And when you look at those kids, you could think, man, maybe that could be my kids, right? Maybe that could be me, right? And it hits home. And I think that's really what it is with Psycho Stu, is that it hits a lot of people home. And also, let's not forget, there's a lot of black on white crime that happens in America. I'm not saying a lot, and I don't have FBI statistical numbers to back up, you know, one side over the other. But what I will say is that, yeah, it is massively effective in a way where it does affect many people negatively. Like, wow, you know what? This is happening or that's happening. And now I'm going to feel some kind of way about it. El-Kheer says, I'll tell you what, guys, you can make it in Detroit. You guys can deal with racism. I live in one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Well, you can't even go to a gas station without a bulletproof vest. Detroit and Chicago and St. Louis are the most dangerous cities in the world. So Detroit, Chicago, and St. Louis are going through what LA and all of California sort of went through back in the 1990s, right? There was a lot of gang shootings out here, but now California is a little more advanced. California has much more cameras, you know, has much more cameras around to sort of catch the perpetrators. And that's sort of how Little Dirk, you know, got caught with that murder for hire thing that he had going on, right? Because obviously they went after these other rap dudes that were in a gas station, and then the gas station caught the entire thing on footage. So, you know, so there you go. Second here, so let's see here. We're reading some more comments here. Fresh Melon Juice says, Raja did it in public for nothing. Imagine what I would have done for a little money offline. Wow, man. Okay, so Okay, so let's see here. El Chaz says you should have jumped in there and stopped the fight, bro. Whoever else was there should have jumped in there and stopped the fight, but you guys wanted him to get beat up like that. Laughing at Fresh. Burberry, get it, Maine. El Chaz says it doesn't matter who is there, bro. You guys should still have jumped in the ring. You guys and Juice, 25-year-old kid up, really beat the hell out of that dude. Fresh Melanges, what is done is done. What I would have done. Okay. So let's see here. Y'all sitting here trying to act innocent when all you could have did something about it if you related to them people that own that wrestling thing. You should have did something. Do you think, Fresh Melange says, do you think I'm loco, essay? El Chaz says, yeah. They say Little Dirk killed King Von, paid for the hit on the head. Wow. Okay, I don't know about all that. I mean, they're homies by the end of the day, right? El Chaz says, is that what you did to your homeboy, bro? Damn, bro. All right. Well, guys, listen. I think that's about it. I think we hit the 2-hour mark on this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me send a shout outs to El Chaz, Fresh Melon Juice, Mr. Burberry, Marty Miller as always, and who else here? Hate Love, JD, shout outs to you, and you know, shout out to the fact that you're a Chelsea fan. We're sort of rivals if you think about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Chelsea and Manchester City are sort of rivals, but here we are allies in you know, in the world of internet MMA, that's for sure. So let's see. El Chaz, shout outs to you. Hate Love. Milky John, shout outs to Milky John. Shout outs to who else was in here? Daniel Hamid, by the way, was part of the show, getting you know, completely annihilated and then blocked, and then he blocks me right afterwards. So let's see here. Yeah, man, that's about it, man. You know, and of course, guys, go check out my homeboy, Tongan Trapper, another Sacramento guy right here. You know, he has a lot of street content, a lot of rap content that I think you guys would be interested in. So please go check him out so you guys can help us, you know, uplift Sacramento as a haven for content creators. Also, Tooth Buds, shout outs to you. Who else is in here? Who else was in here? Milky John, Tooth Buds, Bad Policy. Shout out to Bad Policy asking us what was the topic. Danielle 218, not to be mistaken by Daniel Hamid. NJ03, one of my members in here. And who else here? And Humble Man 420, thank you for the super chat. Shout outs to you. And King Clark, shout out to King Clark. William M, shout out to you. He said, where did the summer go? Yeah, man, it just went by rather quickly like that, huh? Fresh Melon Juice says, blocked you. That's a W. Oh, yeah. When Daniel blocked me earlier. So, all right, man. So that is the show right there, guys. Thank you for tapping in. Keep coming back. Hate Love. Shout outs to you. El Chaz says there's no racism when you step in a cage and feed somebody these hands. That's true. Trust me, bro. Trust me, I fought in the cage, bro. I know. Okay, that's awesome. Hate Love says, thank you. Yes, I'll be a regular for sure. Thank you for it, for being awesome, all of you. El Chaz says, like I said, I'm from one of the most dangerous cities in the world, Detroit, Michigan. Bro, I grew up around race wars and all that stuff. All right, and then El Chaz says, I'm going to tell you one thing, bro, and it don't matter if you're Mexican, Chinese, you're still getting your ass whooped in the hood. There you go. That is true, man. All right, well, with that in mind, shout out to everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah.